usual seem a bit odd for the new ball, for example. As we were saying earlier, I think it's so that the teams aren't forcing their pace bowlers back into action prematurely, perhaps, that gets played out. We have seen more bowlers used, haven't we, in most of the game?
Yes, here's the delivery. That keeps low, well kept out by the very watchful Jordan Cox, and once again there is no run. Kent are 45 for 3.
I'm not sure they will be keeping the format, Mike, but he points out there will only be 10 first-class games if you played home and away. Second, regional groups, okay for this season. And in future, I'd want the groups to be randomly drawn. The format could be very tired very quickly.
I must say, I totally agree with that point, because otherwise you end up playing the same sides all the time. As Quinn bowls, and this ball is defended by Cox. Again, there's no run. And, you know, one of the great pleasures of having followed county cricket virtually all my life is that you enjoy going to all the counties, and if you sort of go a number of years and you think, crikey, it must be back in the noughties since we last paid a visit to such and such a place. In Essex's case it'd be Durham. Haven't played them in championship cricket, I think it's since 2008, and you'd love to go.
Absolutely. Thinking of some of the great outgrounds as well. Scarborough, for instance.
Oh, I love Scarborough. My number one as this next ball goes through outside off stump. No run, the end of a Quinn over, and Kuhn has 6 and Cox has 10, and 45 for 3 is the score. Add the 89 and the overall lead is 134.
As I'm sure Kent fans are, supporters and listeners are bored of hearing, but my dad's family are from Scarborough, so I do have a slightly biased view on that, but it is a great outground, isn't it? But similarly, Yorkshire fans coming south as well, you know.
Yeah.
Not going to come to Canterbury or to Chelmsford. It would be a great miss if that were
that's
the
right.
case.
It's a pity that there are no longer any Essex outgrounds. There was a sort of misprint in the Times when they printed the fixtures for this competition and said that this game was being played at Colchester.
Oh, really?
And Dick and myself were ecstatic, and only for Dick to establish that in fact they meant Chelmsford. Not that I hasten to add, I love it here at Chelmsford, but I just think that it is great to have at least one outground for each county to go to.
Part of the charm. Harmer then to continue, bowling to Heino Kuhn now, who he had a very interesting battle with in the last over. A 4 from Kuhn with the reverse sweep, but that one's defended as the onside, and we continue this with Kuhn on 6, Cox on 10. The lead is at 134.
Good contest between the two.
3. Absolutely. Kuhn hitting 140 in the first innings. Of course, reverse sweeps again. Doesn't really contact this one. Takes a quick run. Danger at the wicketkeeper's end. Shies at it. Cox with the dive. He's missed. And I think that's hit Chopra on the instep, in fact. And he's just trying to loosen that up. But that was a quick run taken by Kuhn. I don't think Cox was quite ready for it either. Ended up with a dive. And from the body language, wicketkeeper Wheater came around the front of the wicket to try and shy at the stumps. The body language, I think they think that was close, Paul.
Yeah, I think that's right. Although I don't particularly say that he would necessarily have been out, but it would have certainly been close. It's difficult to tell because we're a long way away from it and at the wrong angle.
A miss-hit of the reverse sweep then. Cox now faces, that one bounces down the leg side from Harmer and is gloved by Wheater for once. Not a clean take.
Still, I thought he did well there because it turned very sharply.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was going a long way down leg side, so it's quite a test for him as well.
No disrespect to Adam Wheater at all. Very neat wicket-keeper. Flatter delivery, quicker as well, just outside the off stump. And Jordan Cox, perhaps seeing that one down the leg side, has left that outside the off stump. And there's an ooh from the Essex fielders, and I can understand why. Close to the off stump, that.
Ironically, Harmer's the only Essex bowler who's been used who hasn't got a wicket yet.
And he's bowling very well now. Turned behind square by Cox, but once again Sam Cook fields, and there's no relief for the Kent batsman. And Harmer, you just sense that he senses a wicket is close here. What can Kent do to see him off? Because he's getting purchase. Slower delivery, given more air, defended out into the onside, end of the over, going through all his variations there, Simon Harmer. It's cat and mouse. It's a real battle of the brains out there as much as the cricketing skills. End of the over then.
Yes, when I was saying before tea that Harmer had been involved in 9 of 10 Warwickshire dismissals at Edgbaston last year, I failed to point out he bowled 60 overs. And I interviewed him after the day's play, and I said, "The fingers getting tired?" He said, "It's not the fingers, it's the shoulder." So that's interesting. You know, with a lot of bowlers it would be the fingers, but he finds the shoulder is. You'll often see him just sort of reach his right shoulder and give it a bit of massage. So that's the problem area from his point of view. So here comes Quinn from the pace close end, and Kuhn plays the ball defensively into the covers to Aaron Beard, substituting for Ryan Ten-Biscata, no run.
Well, talking as we have been doing about seam bowlers' freshness, what a wonder it is to have someone like Simon Harmer. I say tie down an end, it's more than that, isn't it? I know he's an attacking spin bowler as well, but Essex, there's no reason why they couldn't have Harmer on from this end for the rest of this session, and you can
I think they will do.
You can rotate your fast bowlers from the other end, which they did so well to win the championship last year, of course. It's
difficult to get the ball off him, I think, as this next ball is worked away. That'll be 4 runs down to third man, and it kept low, and the batsman just came down on it late, and Kuhn picks up another boundary, and that brings up the Kent 50 in the 27th over of the innings. 26.2 overs and an hour and 44 minutes have so far gone, scoreboard tells us, and now all we need is a scoreboard to go back and show us what the actual score is. Here it is, 50 for 3, Chiswick 50 exactly. The overall lead 139. Kuhn has overtaken Cox 11 to 10, and this ball is hammered away to the point boundary. 4 more consecutive boundaries, 54 for 3, and it's one of those stories where the innings has lasted 104 minutes. We've had about 20 since tea, and in those 20 minutes he's overtaken his opening batsman partner, who's been there for sort of an hour and 3/4 now exactly. And that's not a criticism of Cox, because he's stayed in there, frustrated Essex's attempts to make further inroads, but Kuhn is a very classy player indeed. The slightest error in line and length and he's on to the bowling, and here he turns the ball. That was a slight one up to the bowler, because Kuhn stretched forward and played it uppishly. Had there been a forward short leg on that occasion, it might have been just a bit too straight for a forward short leg, but one that was placed, you know, in an unusually forward position, it would have been a catch. But as it is, the nearest fieldsman is Sam Cook at mid-wicket, and the ball's long since gone to ground, and there's no run.
More emails coming in. Thanks everyone. KentCricket@gmail.com for emails from both sides.
Here comes Quinn again, bowls, and forward comes Kuhn, and no run there. And you certainly feel, I think, Matt, that in terms of the match, if Heino Kuhn has another significant knock here, Kent is certainly not going to lose.
Yeah, it's obviously he plays his cricket at quite a speed. They had thought about, and he opened in the warm-up match, and Simon Cook, the Kent coach, said, you get what you get from Heino Kuhn. You can't tell him he's not going to do a Jordan Cox and block out 100 balls. He's going to go at this speed.
Good point as Quinn's in bowls, and it's driven back to the bowler. I think that's a bump ball, actually, Matt.
Catch.
Judging from the lack of any great reaction from the fielders, I think that's probably correct. And any case, he dropped it, but I think if he'd held it, it would have been a bump ball. Score is 54 for 3 at the 89, 143 the lead, and looks as if
short break for a bit of hand sanitizer. Well, that's good, because we've got loads of emails to get through.
Sorry, fire away.
And also it gets me. I can just smooth over the fact I just went for a crowd catch there, which is very embarrassing as a commentator.
Just before you start, while we were talking about Heino Kuhn, with the coach saying you can't tell him what to do. Now that might be in terms of a control freak, a criticism, but it wouldn't have been meant that way, because when you've got a really good player, the worst thing you can do is to start programming them in what they ought to do. They already know what the situation needs.
The thought was more, where do we get the best out of him, rather than
exactly.
He couldn't possibly do it. John from Stepney Green saying, thanks Paul, he says, this is about hay fever. I grew into it from the age of 40. Well, that doesn't seem at all fair, does it? There we go.
You must have pinched it off me, John. And you're very welcome to it.
Oh no. Is it Simja on there? Who's on the emails? talking about the live web stream. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are not in control of that, I'm afraid. I mean, he says he's very disappointed in it, but we can't affect it. So we understand your comments, but it's working fine for me is all I can say at the moment. So I'm sure Essex will do all in their powers to get that sorted, but there we go. Dear commentators, says Andrew on the emails. Andrew, great to hear from you.
Andrew, thank you.
On cricket having the moral high ground, we talked about before tea. I wonder whether you'd like to take a look at this new coat of arms of Australia attached. No, I fear to, Andrew. They were at Harmer to Cox off that short break, driven up to Porter at mid-off, and there's no run. Work out what the bird is and give it an Aussie pronunciation. I fear to, Andrew, to open that attachment, because I wonder if it's going to be something rude, and I'm going to be fooled into doing it. Harmer to Cox, not that you do that to me, I'm sure. Just paddles that, or just only pushes it into the onside, and there's no run this time. I'll have a look. Thank you, Andrew. Actually, I'm not sure if I can open this on my phone. It's possible. Here's Harmer to Cox. Just gets wrapped up there. Where is the ball? Ends up with Adam Wheater. Right, close to the wicket there. Really good take. Yeah, I lost it for a second in the flight. And I'm back here. Jordan Cox has to try and get rid of this from Harmer somehow, but this is an absolutely brilliant spell. And takes the edge there, thickish edge, kept it down. That's, you can say, for Cox, and they run through for a single. He'll be very happy to get off strike. He moves on to 11 on the score, on to 56 for 3. Sorry, yes, 55 for 3, beg your pardon. Yeah,
just not happening quite for Harmer in this match. He got 2 tail-end first innings wickets, but apart from that, had a long wait to get a wicket, and he's bowled very well here without much luck.
And onto the back foot goes Kuhn. That's a confection of a shot, that one, isn't it? He's just trying to a little push round the corner there, but finds Sam Cook. Again, the field is absolutely perfectly placed, which suggests that Harmer is bowling it in the absolutely perfect place as well. Leans forward, and that felt a little bit edgy to me as well, as an ooh from the bowler. Kept it down. They come back for a quickly run 2. Throw's not accurate. I don't think it would have been out anyway.
No.
But certainly pushing the boundaries there. 57 for 3. It's the end of the over. Lead 146 for Kent now. Andrew, thank you very much indeed. A visual joke there. Doesn't work too well on the radio. Made me smile though. Thank you for that. One from Martin as well. Doesn't look like there's a message in that, Martin, so it might be my mistake. Thank you for that though anyway. The Ames scoreboard, Adrian Jewell on the emails. The scoreboard operator at the Ames scoreboard at Canterbury, along with Roy Lungley. It's great to hear from you, Adrian. Also first team scorer at Chelmsford Cricket Club after making the move from Kent to Essex. There we go. I mean, the Ames scoreboard is a well, certainly in Kent it's a landmark.
Yes, indeed. And
we always praise the abilities of those in the box. Great to hear from you.
Thank you very much
indeed.
More
power to you and Roy. And scoring at Chelmsford. There we are.
Jamie Porter replacing Matt Quinn. Sun for the moment has disappeared. There's a rather heavy cloud comes over us, although I don't think it's rain bearing as yet. And well, I thought Porter was going to bowl, but now Tom Wesley wants another word with him.
I have a story about Chelmsford Cricket Club. I'm not sure it's a particularly interesting one, which I don't know if I should waste your time with, but I thought there was going to be a brief break there. Perhaps I'll save the listeners as Jamie Porter bowls.
Comes in now, 2 slips, bowls, and Cox plays the ball defensively out to Beard in the covers.
Out on another assignment, call from the news desk. I wasn't doing sport at that point. Very early in my career at BBC Radio Kent. Can you go to the cricket? Our reporter's pulled out. Absolutely love to. But I can't remember where I was, in East Kent somewhere. Can you just shout me the postcode? So they shouted me the postcode. Brilliant. Chelmsford, looks like a cricket ground. You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yes.
You know where I ended up, don't you?
That's Porter's in. Bowls, and this ball is again pushed out to Beard in the covers, and again there's no run.
So I've been to Chelmsford Cricket Club, but that's not the same as this ground, is it?
No.
No, it's not. No. So I arrived there, had to ring the office and go, there doesn't appear to be any cricket here. What's going on? You sent me to the wrong ground. So yes, all in a panic. I managed to find my way to the home of Essex cricket here.
Yeah, they've certainly had a couple of players, current Essex players, who've been through the good offices of Chelmsford Cricket Club. As Porter, oh, that's a good delivery, and that one actually pitched, and whereas most of his deliveries are off cutters, that moved away from the batsman and left Cox groping at thin air, but he survives, and Kent are 57 for 3.
Yeah, he is surviving. 76 balls for his 11 so far, and it is obviously it's a decent lead at this point for Kent of 146, but beautiful delivery from Porter. Richard from Epping saying, "Hi gents, seems Essex are bowling much better and tighter this innings. We weren't here on the first day, but all I can say is they're bowling very well from where I'm sitting."
Porter's in, bowls, and it runs here as the ball's clipped off the pads and away for 4. Beautifully timed from Cox, gets his second boundary, and he moves along to 15, and the score to 61 for 3, and the overall lead to 150.
Well, you could be critical of Jordan Cox, I suppose, for scoring rate, but in an innings like this, where it could be make or break for Kent in terms of any possibility of winning this game, I really do think someone had to play the anchor role, particularly early on, when they bowled well all through this innings so far, the Essex attack. So
Porter again comes in and bowls, and that keeps a little bit low, well dug out by Cox. There's no run. Neil Bainton is sent scampering along because the throw appeared to be being hurled in at the bowler's end. Wanted to get in a good position should there be any run out call, but in the end it didn't happen, and score remaining at 61 for 3.
Email from Debbie. Great to hear from you on kentcricket@gmail.com. Great to both see and hear the cricket. Thank you. She says, I'm an Essex fan but also a Heino Kuhn fan, and hoping he isn't doing this tomorrow with a picture of a Heino Kuhn celebration. There we go.
Yes, so we'll come back to that, but here's Porter in and bowls, and this ball has been played for 4 more through the vacant third man area. There's no gully, and maybe there should be at least a gully out there, because rather too many boundaries from an Essex point of view are coming in that area. 65 for 3 as Cox veritably explodes along to 19 not out. He'd got 11 from 70 odd deliveries before this over, and with those 2 fours he's almost doubled his score. He's got 19 from another half dozen deliveries there, so well done to him, as you say, performing a very useful purpose, as Matt leaves us briefly to his update for BBC Radio Kent. And Simon Harmer, meanwhile, as Matt was saying, quite likely to bowl the session out from the river end if recent history is anything to go by. Veritably thrives as spinners do, particularly successful ones, on long uninterrupted spells. As here he is, bowls, and first ball played by Heino Kuhn to mid wicket. Yes, Debbie, clearly the emphasis of your fandom is placed with Essex rather than Heino Kuhn. As you say, you don't want to see him with arms raised in triumph come the end of the game, but I must admit he is a terrific player to watch. And if you bowl him a loose delivery, it's almost certainly going to disappear to the boundary. Another dot ball goes on, and here comes Harmer again, whistling through his overs at a very rapid rate indeed. Again, he nudges the ball behind square on the onside. Sam Cook is up to it and prevents any sort of a run. 65 for 3 on the board, lead of 154, and Kuhn very respectfully for a third time plays the ball out to Aaron Beard, mid wicket. Harmer with Wesley just closing up a little bit at mid on, probably wanting to prevent Kuhn from pinching the bowling for the next over, and that one was a fast flat trajectory from Harmer. Kuhn can do no more than play the ball yet again to Beard, so score remaining at 65 for 3. Harmer comes in again, slip in the back pad, bowls, and he's gone for the big one here. It's gone a long way up in the air, it should be caught. Nick Brown's underneath it and holds it, and that is the end of Heino Kuhn. And well, this is how Harmer gets his wickets. He first of all wears people's patience down, batsmen's patience, by keeping them quiet, and then they go for the big heave-ho, and If he'd hit it straighter, I think he would have got away with it, even though he didn't get all of it. But as it was, played out to the wide expanses of deep mid-wicket, it was a fairly standard catch for Nick Brown, just taking nothing away from Nick Brown, who's a very good pair of hands for catches out in the deep. You don't see him drop many, if any. And Kent 65 for 4, just at the moment when they'd added 29 since tea, without further loss, having lost Ollie Robinson, who put on 150 with Kuhn in the first innings, brilliantly caught by Harmer off Quinn just before tea, and 29 added since, and it was just beginning to look as if Kent had a good chance of, in this final session, gaining a position of some authority, which they may still do, but Kuhn is obviously the man that Essex, given the choice of any Kent batsman, 140 in the first innings, they wanted to see the back of him, which they have now succeeded in doing. So he departs for 17, and Kent are 65 for 4, leading by 154 with 6 second innings wickets in hand. Matt returns.
Any moment now. There we go. Second time I've been on the update and got a Kent wicket. So Essex fans will want to be rid of me for more than one reason this afternoon. Catch by Nick Brown in the deep then, and had a stall there to move things along quickly, as is his MO, and Jock Cox is still there on 19 as Darren Stevens comes out, so often the scourge of the Essex bowling. But at the moment Essex on top, it's their day overall, isn't it? But Kent obviously have this lead.
Alters in, bowls, and all. Sorry, I think it's your shout. It's all played into the offside. There's no run. Yes, I was just musing over whether it's been Essex's day. I think you're probably right overall. Certainly it would be if they got another couple of wickets fairly soon. But Kent certainly, it was Kent's day massively on the first day and substantially on the second. So Kent still in the driving seat, provided they don't have another collapse.
Yeah, absolutely. Have this advantage, obviously, with that 89-run lead from the first innings. Porter bowls to Stevens, works his way on the offside attractively as well, up on his toes, just cutting it away for 4 runs. Good shot from Stevens to start his innings. He's underway with 4 from 2 balls, and he's in danger of catching Jordan Cotton, 69 for 4. But Cox has just played the anchor role. He's been dogged out there and needed to be as well. But could go for 17 then. And as you said, if he had got any sort of meaningful innings, it would probably mean that Essex would be batted out of this game. So they've done really well once again. Porter to Stevens, just leans on that to the onside, whereas Cushy feels that at square leg.
There is a sort of unfailing tendency in many ways, although obviously it did fail, this tendency in the first innings. But I was going to say that people who try to attack Harmer usually perish. And obviously that isn't true of the first innings, that fantastic partnership between Kuhn and Robinson. But generally speaking, as soon as batsmen think, I'm going to hit this bloke over the top, they might get away with it once, but they tend to come unstuck fairly soon.
Porter to Stevens, just cuts it away again. He's hit Nick Brown, or the ball's come to Nick Brown, I should say. Stevens has been very fluid with the bat to start with, I have to say, timing the ball nicely.
He is. Yes, Essex will consider it a rather ominous start from Stevens here. He did have a spell, if I remember rightly, at one point last season when he wasn't getting many runs, before he had that fantastic explosion at Headingley. But he looks in pretty good touch out here, and over the years, as you rightly say, he's been the scourge of the Essex bowling attacks.
Here comes Porter now to Stevens on sport. Oh, kept low, definitely shot that one, and Stevens equal to it. Pushes forward up to mid-on, and there's no run. We gather Sussex are the first team to win a match in the Bob Willis Trophy, beating Hampshire by 94 runs. Ollie Robinson, the other Ollie Robinson, took 5 wickets today. Low scoring contest that between the two, but
did Kyle Abbott play in that game, do we know?
I don't know. I'll check in a minute, but Robinson was born in Margate, in the Kent Academy. This one just stands up a little bit on Stevens, but keeps down well into the offside end of the over. He's moved to 4. Single boundary, Cox has 19. 69 for 4, Kent. Lead by 158 here at Chelmsford on BBC Essex and BBC Radio Kent. Is it BBC Radio Essex now?
No, it's BBC
Yes,
Essex.
it is. And it's Matt Cole and Paul Newton with you. Welcome wherever you are. Thank you for all your emails. I've still got some to get through, but we do need to concentrate on the cricket, me particularly.
Yes, we'll come to the next match after this over from Harmer, because he gets through it in about a minute and a half. KentCricket@gmail.com. We've thoroughly enjoyed your offerings today to date, and just waiting for the field to settle down, or for Tom Wesley, the new Essex skipper, to finish making the odd adjustment. And here comes Harmer from the river end in bowls, and Cox allows the ball to be taken by Adam Wheater there. Score remaining 69 for 4, but Harmer getting quite a lot of quite sharp turn now. Bowls again. Forward comes Cox, correct technique. I think it was bat and pad there, but if it had been pad only, he wouldn't have been in any danger of being LBW, because he got a long way across outside off stump. The sun has disappeared for the moment, but perhaps the rain might arrive around 6 o'clock will be accurate, and it doesn't come any earlier, as the next one's tossed up by Harmer. And although defended into the offside, the very lack of any pace on the shot facilitates the single, for Matt Quinn can get to it from backward point running towards extra cover, and scores a 70 for 4, leading by 159 at Kent. Each of the 4 bowlers we've seen has a wicket. Porter dismissed Bell Drummond for 1, Cook dismissed Leaning for 6, Quinn dismissed Robinson for 14, and Harmer dismissed Kuhn for 17. Harmer, who took a quite brilliant catch at second slip to get rid of Ollie Robinson, the ball before tea. Now comes in bowls. First time he's bowled to Darren Stevens in this innings, and that ball turns back and takes Stevens on the pad, but it would have beaten leg stump, so no appeal.
Yeah, a quicker one as well, didn't it?
Yep.
Slightly surprised Darren Stevens there.
Yes, he's got plenty of variety to his deliveries, Simon Harmer. Proper craftsman. This one is short and flat, and that ball lifted. There was quite a lot of bounce there. Very well taken by Adam Wheater, as Stevens backed away and was looking to square cut, because he knows that either side of Matt Quinn at backward point there were 4 runs for the taking, but he missed. Elegant stance Stevens has. Nice easy stance at the crease. Hits it very firmly out of the middle of the bat, and fielded by Aaron Beard at mid-wicket. Another over ends with Kent at 70 for 4, leading by 159.
And the fields that they set for Harmer kind of betrays how tight he can keep things, doesn't it? Because they can't. There's 2 men more or less on the run up to long on, so a mid on and a long on, absolute experts. So fascinating stuff. John from Florida, talking about our pre-tea conversation, suggesting another very famous Austrian who was in charge of Germany for a while. Yeah, absolutely, John. So perhaps they would prefer to get that, to forget that as well. Long-time Essex fan, through to wicket-keeper Wheater, and Cox has had a shy at that one and has missed it. And goodness me, how close was that? Some has Porter bowled it, shaped away from, great delivery, just seams away from Cox, who had a look at it. So landing on middle and off, and going away from the 19-year-old to Adam Wheater. Here's Porter then bowling to Cox. There's that one down the leg side, but good take from Wheater. Porter bowling from the Hayes close end. And Ben on the email saying, I'd like to praise Kent Cricket Club. I've received a letter from them saying my 6-pack, as they call it, could be used in 2021. I think it's a great decision. I'm not sure if evenings at the T20 will ever be the same as they were last year. I'm not. Well, it's a question, isn't it, Ben? So much of life has changed, and we don't know when any of that will come back. It's Porter outside the off stump. This time a leave by Jordan Cox. But Porter absolutely on the money, coming back for his second spell. He was 1 for 20 so far from 7.5 overs. Really testing Jordan Cox. So Porter turns, number 44 on his back. Blonde haired, absolutely brimming with energy. 2 slips behind Jordan Cox. Fields for that one outside the off stump, through to the wicket keeper. Beaten again. And Jamie Porter's not short of a word or two. Bit of a shrug. I think his word for the slips perhaps past Jordan Cox, but Cox will be all too aware this is a very testing spell indeed for him. And yeah, feeling outside the off stump, through to the wicket keeper, no run. And where's the best play? What's the best way to play Jamie Porter, you might say at this point? That old cricketing adage from the non-striker's end. Comes Porter again down the slight slope from the Hayes close end. Bat on at this time from Cox. He threatens the stumps. It's Porter. There's no run. Mike's gone very controversial about Essex outgrounds.